All right. Welcome, everyone. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Kate Mueller. I am the Chief Product Owl and Resident Cheesemonger here at KnowledgeOwl. And today I get to talk a little bit about one of our more recent features, the customized text tool. We recently expanded it to include some of the text in the article template. And that particular text is a little bit trickier to customize. So I wanted to talk through some of the hidden gotchas on using that particular text customization, just so that it was a little less intimidating and scary. I will share my screen. All right, so y'all should be able to see my screen at this point. So the customized text tool lives in the Tools Customize Text menu. And what this basically allows you to do is to take for any of the language that we create in your live knowledge base and have automatically generated since KnowledgeOwl came into existence, we are slowly building out the option for you to customize all of those text strings. Historically, this used to be a fairly tricky thing. You usually had to add a script to customize the text. We were trying to make it so that you can just come in and customize a particular field. This is organized by knowledge base section. So for example, I can hop into top navigation and go log out is supposed to be 2 words, not 1. And here's what it looks like before in my live knowledge base. And once I update it with the customized text, it will update to whatever I've set that string to. So you can hop into any of the knowledge base sections here. This is marked as being in beta, and that's primarily because we're still building it out. It's not a complete feature yet, but everything that's in here is fully functional and safe to use. And so the new section that we're talking about today is this article knowledge base section. So there's a few things that are a little unique to this section. One of them is that some of the text fields in here are things that actually already existed as customizable fields in other places within KnowledgeOwl that we have migrated in here. So the article template covers all of the standard text that you see when you're viewing an article within the knowledge base. So the last modified on metadata statement down here, if you are using related articles, the header for that, if you're using ratings or comments, all of the text associated with those is included in this customized text section. And so ratings and comments both did have some text that was customizable before we made this change. Those settings used to exist in settings comments and in settings article ratings. So many of these might actually look familiar for those of you who are using these features. We basically just migrated whatever existing text strings there were for those fields into this customized text page. So if you're already actively using those settings, my first suggestion would be come down here, review whatever you might have for article ratings and comments customizations, and be sure that they look good still, that we migrated them over properly and nothing got formatted weird. If there are text strings present, you'll see something in this left-hand most column. So for example, I think I've got out here, here's an example where we did actually migrate those fields over. So you'll see I've just kind of got some text over here. Just do a quick review and be sure that whatever came in is actually formatted properly. And if you're used to updating those things in settings comments or settings ratings, you'll see we put a nice big banner at the top that says, hey, we moved where these text fields are customized. You can go jump to customize text now to make those changes, and it'll take you directly into the article tab. So hopefully not too painful of a change there. The other thing that's a bit unique, and is in fact why I wanted to do this Wisdom Wednesday session, is that there are a couple fields in this article template that you have to do a little bit more than just set your customized text string. This last modified on text string is one of them. Related articles is another one. In both of these, if you go to edit the text string, you'll get this extra little warning that says to display this text string, update your knowledge base theme to use the appropriate customized text merge code. And then there's this learn more link that will open a little bit of additional documentation here on the right-hand side about how to make those changes. But let me explain a little bit why this pop-up is appearing here and how we get rid of it. So actually, I can cheat and use this. Your theme overall, your fonts, your colors, all of these things are set in the settings style menu out here. And as part of that, there's a series of custom HTML templates that we make available to you so you can tweak the layout of your knowledge base on a sort of like knowledge base wide scale. So the body template will apply across every page in your knowledge base. Top navigation just handles the stuff at the top. Homepage handles a bit of homepage, and article handles the layout of an article on a given page. So this template is actually setting what's happening out here when I look at an article. It will populate the header, the title, whatever metadata we might have tossed in here, and then it'll dump the body of the article into a section and then create the sections at the bottom. And the reason that these couple of fields require a little bit of extra work here is that in most cases, when we're creating these customized text strings, they are things that you can customize that exist only in our code base. So there's no way that they're exposed to you. You can't do anything with them. So it's very easy for us to kind of swap out that variable for a customized text string from like the hard-coded specific text we had before. But for a few of these things, we've actually hard-coded them directly into these custom HTML templates. So the last modified on, we generally have directly coded that text straight into this custom HTML article template, and the header for related articles is the same. So what'll happen here if we don't make any changes in setting style, but we do update a text string out here? I will just change this to last updated on instead of last modified on. Is that you'll make this change and you'll come out and refresh and you'll see that that text string still hasn't updated. It's still showing the other one. And so that's warning number one. Also, I have a typo. Let me fix that. Warning number one will be that you don't see the text string show up. Warning number two will be that you see this little pop-up in the edit customized text string that will warn you that there's an additional step that needs to be taken. So in this case, what we need to do on the settings style side is to find the text in question. So last modified on is usually tucked within this metadata div. Related articles is usually tucked into the footer. It might also be in your right column, depending on the layout that you have. And in either case, what we want to do is replace this sort of like hard-coded text with a new merge code that will pull in that customized text string variable. So in order to do that, we're going to hop down here into the Select a Merge Code menu, which is a huge menu. I can tell you what we want right now is at the very bottom of this, but if I scroll up a little bit, okay, you'll see we get to the section that says Customized Text Merge Codes, and then we've got some sections under that. We're looking specifically here for anything in the article. So last modified timestamp label is what I need here for my example. And you'll see once I select that, it kind of populates this little merge code field. You can either select this, copy and paste it, and dump it into the template, or just put your cursor kind of where you need it and hit the insert button. That one's much easier. So we're going to insert that merge code, and then we're going to rip out, I'll just delete the extra text here that was generated. So we've totally replaced this at this point with this merge code. I'm going to hit save. And now once I come out here and refresh, you'll see I do get my updated, oh, and I need to add a space after that or leave a space in my custom HTML template, which is probably what I will do here. There we go. All right. So in any of these cases, the only time you have to be at all concerned about these extra steps is if you click the gear icon, the gear cog icon to update a text string or add a text string, and you see this little warning message that says that you're going to have to update your knowledge base theme. For nearly every other field in here, you won't see that. You'll just be able to pop a text string in. It'll automatically go live. This is only an issue for these top two text strings in the article knowledge base section, and there are a couple text strings in the table of top nav. They're both T's. I get confused. In the top navigation section, the toggle navigation and table of contents. These are both texts that are only used by screen readers. They're not exposed in your live knowledge base unless somebody's using a screen reader. So these are a lot less likely that you'll have to update. But here you'll also see that message. And the documentation on this, let me actually open this in full sight so we get the full effect of it. It'll actually break down based on what the text string is, which custom HTML template and the style settings you need to go into, and which merge codes you need to select and insert there. So if you do go down the top navigation screen reader rabbit hole, you should be able to find what you need here. Here's the toggle navigation one, and table of contents is here as well. So in these particular cases, since it does involve touching those custom HTML templates, we could have done this automatically when you set the text string. However, we don't like to automatically touch people's themes without them knowing that we're touching the themes. So we made it a very explicit extra step so that you knew what was happening and you were in complete control of having that text string swapped out. So that there wasn't any funny business happening behind the scenes where like you were confused why a change happened. All right, I'm going to pause there. Do we have any questions about customized text in general, or particularly working with the article template and customized text? Okay, crickets usually means either I did a great job or everybody's too scared to ask a question. So I am going to stop the recording here. Thank you for those of you watching this after the fact.